first top dog call. Like, we got to do this right, right? We got to get everybody here. And not only was he the top dog for 2 weeks ago to clear his quick start bonus in 3 weeks, also to finish off the month, and he only had 3 weeks in the month. He was also the top producer on the entire team for the month in 3 weeks. Okay. So, like, I was like, this is like one of those things where it's too good, where I feel like there's going to be some fire brought that everybody should be listening to, that we're going to make this happen. And then with his fourth week, he did clear over 20K. So, we got a lot of big things happening. So we're gonna because this is the first top dog call. We are usually we do this like let people talk about whatever they're gonna talk about, but we're gonna do this interview style because it's his first one, right? Guy's still a little bit fresh and green. He's going into his 5th week this week. All right, so Dillon, just get us started. Will you just give us a quick introduction into yourself? This is probably the best way that we can figure out who you are. Like, if you were to be this is my favorite question, right? And we've done this in the past, but if anybody was to play you in a movie, right? They're going to make a movie about Dillon's life. What actor would you choose to play you in a movie?
That's a great question that I don't really have an answer to. I can't lie because I don't really watch very much TV.
Nice.
Um, but I'm usually too busy. But anyways, a little bit about me. I'm from Hamilton, Montana, and graduated from a very small high school, 32 people. Um, and I grew up in a really, really bad home, alcoholic parents, and I didn't talk to either one of them for a long, long time, about 5 years. And I just, I love to work. People ask me what my hobbies are. I don't really have hobbies. I like to work. I mean, I like to have a nice vehicle. That's, I guess, kind of a hobby of mine. Um, I don't do, there's a lot of people that have things like fly fishing or just whatever it is they do, but I just like to be busy. It doesn't really matter what I'm doing. I love spending time with family, and um, I just like to keep my mind busy.
Okay, so walk us through like what you did before this career wise.
What I did before this, more like what didn't I do before this? I've done a little bit of everything. I've always been in customer service of some kind. I have managed a Verizon store. I was a corrections officer for a year. Um, I've done HVAC. When I was in high school, I worked at a feed store, and that's really where it started. Um, I started learning how to communicate with people. I used to be really shy. Like when you think of little Dillon as a little boy, I was the kid that literally had his arms wrapped around whatever adult he was with because he was scared of the world. And now I could confidently go up and talk in front of 5,000 people and care less about it.
So walk us through that. Like, where do you feel like the switch happened for you? At what age do you feel like you started becoming, going from a shy little boy to the Dillon that I know now, and that everybody's getting to know, where you're not worried about talking in front of people?
Um, Honestly, I couldn't tell you when that change happened. I think it's just something that was developed over time because you just learn that, and it's something that's difficult also coming from such a small town. You're always thinking, well, what do they think? What are they thinking about me? But then there just comes a time where you do it enough that you just don't care anymore. And then you kind of realize that other people have their own lives to worry about and they don't really care what you're doing. And then I guess a big thing for me too, I actually lived in California for about 6 months last year. And just kind of seeing how everybody exists there in their own little world. You go by people in the grocery store and you never see the same person twice. So I thought that that was a pretty good character building experience for me.
Hmm. So walk us through what brought you here, right? Because what most people don't realize is that while you and I started talking, we were like third or fourth down the list of the things that you were thinking about doing. So all of a sudden, dot, 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 here you are, top producer for the week and the month. Why did you decide to come do this opportunity versus the other ones that you're being recruited towards?
Well, being recruited is no stranger to me. I get, even since I've been here, actually, I haven't told you, but I've gotten two messages from other insurance companies. I don't even know where this word is coming from, but um, I chose this because A, I like you, Devin. I bought a policy from you when I was, what, 19 years old. Um, and then B, I really like the opportunity that is available to me, because I've always been in sales or customer service of some kind, but I have a little bit of the ADHD going on and I struggle to sit in one place for too long. So this job allows me to go talk to people, to move around, to go to different towns. I got my non-resident license in Idaho as well, and I'm really excited about being able to literally go wherever I want and just sell insurance and make money and protect families. And I really like the culture that you guys have here. Obviously, I worked with you because you trained me, and then went over and spent a day with Paz and spent a day with John. And it's just really like a big family, which is something that's really cool.
Hmm. Yeah, that's honestly like people only come here for one of three reasons usually, right? The people, the product, or the possibilities. And one of the best things that we got here is the people. It doesn't get much better than what we have here. So let's talk about last week, right? So not last week, the week before, right, where you were the top producer, but what was the end number that you hit? It was 9,000, right? Or no, it was 8,700. You're just shy of your first Eagle, which would have landed you into a very nice double cash bonus, which was already pretty good. But what was like when you were planning out your week before going into that big week? What was your main focus? What was the number one thing that you were trying to accomplish?
I guess the number one thing I was trying to accomplish is trying to get in front of as many people as I could. And what really made my week big, I don't know if I said that right, is I got into a nursing home, and um, that was just really good. I went in there a few times and just struggled to get anybody in management that would listen to me. And then the one day the lady was finally in there, and I didn't even ask if I could go back, if I could see her. I just walked back there, and the lady at the front desk, she's like, "Good luck." And I went back there and I just walked into her office and I sat down, set my stuff on her desk. And I said, "How you doing today?" And just started visiting with her, and told her what I was there for, what I wanted to do, and um, got it set up, and I was able to go in the next day, and it was just really positive. So I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to get in front of as many people as I could, and I think that was a really good place to do that.
Hmm. So let me ask you this then. Here you are going into your fifth week. You got vetted agents on this call. You got some people that started a few weeks before you, and you got a few people that are starting a little bit after you. What advice would you give to a new agent going into like their first week or even their first month that you feel like would help them have a week similar to what you had last week?
I think that the advice that I would give to a new agent would be in a roundabout way, no matter what your bitch voice tells you in your head. I don't want to go in there. They've already told me no. I don't want to do this again. They're going to shut me down again. Just do it anyways, because literally the worst thing that can happen is they just say no.
Now
So we all have a bitch voice in our head. Don't do it. Don't do it. They're going to tell you no. It's scary. You're uncomfortable. Be uncomfortable. If you're uncomfortable, then it means that you're doing something right. When you're comfortable, something's wrong.
I love that. So I agree with you. Everybody has the bitch voice, everybody has the badass voice. Most people, I should say, I would be surprised if anybody has really identified who the badass voice is inside of their head. I have three voices, but I'm kind of curious. When you hear the badass voice that's inside of your head, who is it?
Well, truthfully, I think kind of told you this, but when I was in California, I did this solar sales job, and I worked for a boss, and there was like 50 dudes in this office that I worked in. And I remember when I first went in there, he seemed pretty friendly, and then literally the next day, our morning meeting consisted of him screaming at the entire office, screaming. And I mean, just the most profane language I have ever heard, and especially coming from, the owner of the company. And I was just thinking, why am I here? But then I stayed, and um, I don't know what it is. I hear Brett's voice. Get out there and do it, you fucking pussy. And just, sorry if that's a little over the top, but he would scream at us every day, and that's usually what it consists of. And I have his voice about him. I remember, him telling me when I left there that I wasn't going to do anything good. And I think that it was just a way to get under my skin because he really wanted me to come back. He didn't want me to leave. Um, and I remember him telling me, he's like, dude, he's like, you have an opportunity here. He's like, I want you to come back. You do really good. And I told him I wanted to be a cop. And um, I think that comes from the part of me that never had any structure as a child. Um, And he told me, he's like, dude, it's like, you're never going to make any money as a cop. Just telling me I can't do it, can't do it. And when somebody tells you you can't do it, you just want to do that much more.
Starting to
So
break
that's the
up there.
voice in my head.
I love that. Dude, that's so what are you most excited for coming down the pipeline? And where you're starting to break up a little bit. I'm not sure if you have the best service or not, but in the future,
Oh,
right?
I
So you
can't.
got a pretty good start. Good first month, good uh a good week, 2 weeks ago. What are you excited for coming down the pipeline? What's like the next step that you're excited about in this job?
Really, I just want to get licensed in every state that I can because obviously, I'm young and I want to travel so bad. So I love that I have the opportunity to be able to do that with this job.
Nice. Yeah. And the cool thing about this company is that you do good enough, the company will pay you to travel and you'll win a lot of incentive trips. And so there's going to be that part too. Now, if I was to tell you guys anything, probably the number one thing that's really like made him do really well is that the kid has uh an infinity for wanting to do his absolute best work, right? Like one of my favorite things, and I tell him many times, he'll contact me and say, like, this person didn't buy. Why didn't they buy? Right. And we'll have to role play a sales talk, dissect it. And I'll be like, nope, man, everything sounds good. You just were sitting down with someone that wasn't gonna, that is a non-buyer. And he's like, he straight up is telling me everybody needs this product. Right? There's not a single person that doesn't need it. Like, and it's really frustrating to him that somebody wouldn't buy it. He actually expects that everybody that he talks to is going to want this product and should want this product. And if he does a demo with them, they should buy it. And when they don't, it actually frustrates him. Now, it's frustrating to him, and I have to tell him, like, look, not everybody's a buyer. But at the same time, that expectation and that level of belief causes him to keep looking at his sales talk all the time and say, like, man, I must be doing something wrong, right? I must have not asked a question right. I must have not read a testimonial the right way. I must have not used names and built credibility. Like he's constantly dissecting every single demo, right? Almost to a point where it's a little bit unhealthy. And I've had to tell him, like, hey, give yourself two positives and one thing that you can learn from, right? Because you got to start practicing that. Otherwise, you're beating yourself up just a little bit too much. But that there's a healthy dissatisfaction that comes with being able to say, like, man, I should be getting more results, right? And the fact that he's willing to look for those results and do the CT audios and read his sales talk over and over again, right? That's really probably the biggest thing that he did not mention that I have seen. Like he's doing a lot of other things right, don't get me wrong, but that's probably the number one thing that he's doing right that I've seen in the first 3 weeks while I've been working with him. So